Thanks, Hindu. Thanks, Gandhi. Good luck to Smite Tactics. It looks fun. I know we've had a chance to play it. I'm really excited to keep going, get some codes, get some friends in there. And if Stu's giving away codes, I got to follow him because he might give me a Heebie-Cheebie Hades code. That's
Absolutely. Do you follow Stu?
Yes, I do, of course. You have to follow the boss man, don't you?
You do. He really is the boss man. Great guy. We love Stu. And we're excited to announce not only the next game coming up, but there are a couple of things coming up in store for Season 4. That's right. I said the magical 2-word Season 4. What's upcoming for the Smite Pro League? We're going to talk about that right now. So on your screen, you will be able to take a look at some of the plans for Season 4. Basically, we're going to be adjusting a little bit of the amateur circuit. We're going to have a challenger circuit that is essentially the second league underneath the SPL, and there will be 4 teams in that league. And while that league is playing, there's actually going to be an open bracket combine format going on alongside that, which will allow new teams in the hopes of becoming a competitive Smite team to battle out each week, earn points, and during relegation moments have a chance to battle the lower 2 teams of the challenger circuit. So essentially 4 teams in challengers, a lot of newcomers coming up, and every now and then they'll be able to kind of challenge and go back and forth. Maybe some teams from the challenger circuit will drop into the open bracket combine, and some new faces, some new teams will join into the challenger circuit. And why do you want to be in the challenger circuit, Tolly?
You want to get into the SPL, you got to go through the bumps and bruises of the challenger circuit. We're going to see a lot of new blood coming up soon.
That's right, and that's the goal. So obviously the goal is to get into the challenger circuit, to then get into the SPL. Let's take a look at some of the ways the SPL will be transpiring this upcoming year and where we'll be going from here. We have obviously my face on the screen, which is lovely. I do like it.
That's going to be Season 4. It's
this
just gonna
Season
be
4.
All rain day, all
I don't know
the
people.
time. You are the final boss to get into the SPL after the challenger circuit.
I'm not sure if that's what everyone was expecting, but here it is. It's me, and I'll be playing Heebie-Cheebie Hades, and you can't beat me. That's it. That's how it'll work. But so pretty much the idea for what's happening in Season 4, I will be kind of explaining to you. You'll get a graphic in just a moment. But we will have a phase where we go into 2 weeks of open bracket, and what's going to happen is the bottom 3 teams from the SPL will actually start in the relegations. And you see there on your screen relegations, that's February 5th to February 4th. The top 3 teams from that open bracket play I just mentioned, they'll also face off in the relegations battle. And the top 3 teams out of those, who knows how it'll splice up, will then advance into the SPL for that initial February 9th to March 26th spring split. From there on, the winner of that split will actually get themselves on a VGU Gauntlet cruise, which is pretty cool. You get a cruise for free, and Paladins will be on there as well. Don't know if I'll be there, but you might be able to see me. Of course, then after that, you will then have a Gauntlet LAN and a Smite Masters LAN, which will be taking place. So this is kind of the key for how things will be advancing. Obviously, Smite Masters is where everyone wants to be. And so the top 2 teams from each region from that split will advance to the Masters. And so you get 2 from EU, 2 from NA. The bottom 6 SPL teams and the top 2 teams from the challengers per region will then go to a gauntlet. So that'll basically be very much like the gauntlet that got you to the Smite Super Regionals. That is how that will transpire. There will be one winner from both Europe and North America, rounding the Smite Masters LAN out to 6 teams at this point. And so basically the easiest way to qualify is to be the top 2 in your league, respectively, whether you're EU or NA, but also you have a chance in that gauntlet if you don't make it there first.
I mean, getting top 2 is pretty nice. You know, you get a little bit of vacation while also competing at the same time, being at that cruise. That's definitely something that's going to be really exciting for a lot of these players.
That sounds a lot of fun to me.
You definitely want to be able to get a little bit of sun as well, because, you know, getting a monitor tan is just not enough sometimes.
That's right. Those monitors.
Gamers going outside.
They don't tan as much as they should.
We're going to make them go outside
Exactly.
now.
That's what we need to do.
It'll be like awkward funny, kind of, seeing the gamers in this crazy social environment. I think they can hang with it, though. These LANs are helping a lot of them out. And it is a really awesome opportunity, of course. I've never even been on a cruise my whole life.
Me neither, actually.
Yeah, so
neither have I.
Wow. So I mean, we need to go.
I need to win.
Yeah, you gotta get there. You boys will be very, very determined to do so. And so that's just a little bit of a preview at the Season 4 plans. We hope you stick around for Season 4. We got a lot of great Smite coming up. Now let's take a look at the bracket for Super Regionals and see kind of what has transpired thus far for those who may be joining us on the decks just now. Of course, Energy had their first game against Obey. Both of those teams moved on from their semifinals earlier on in the week, and Energy got the clean victory 3-0 sweep. Now, on the side of North America, we did see Eager beat Flashpoint and SoaR beat Luminosity, both 3-1 wins, very convincing. And now those two teams will be battling it out for the best in North America.
This is going to be such an exciting matchup, Dazer. Eager always going to bring out some very exciting drafts and compositions, whereas SoaR, they play more standard. You'll see your more typical meta picks, and they'll just try to outplay you straight up.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Eager, they're one of the most unique teams, actually, in terms of how they draft. They always come out with these really interesting picks. I think most of that is due to djpernicus. He's a very smart guy, and he loves to experiment with what he does, and I think maybe that's how they're going to win this set.
Whether or not it's the Bastet or the Circuit, a lot of out-of-flavor meta picks for djpernicus. It works so well for Team Eager. We'll see how SoaR is going to be able to adapt to what Eager throws at them.
And I think really the interesting aspect is going to djpernicus as the first thought. Most people, when they think Eager, they think Zapman.
Absolutely. This is finally Zapman's year as he's going to Worlds for the very first time, this time as a player. First year, he was a spectator. Second year, he was working as a caster. And now he's going to be able to actually play under the lights and behind, being watched by the fans. But he's also going to be against Metyankey, who's one of these quiet hunters. But now Zapman has been a little bit transformed. It's almost like Zapman 2.0.
Yeah, no, he's really improved over this season, I'd say. Like, he's really changed his play style. He used to be this super aggro. Everyone knows him as that. He's a super aggro guy, diving towers at any moment in the game. He's just surprising you. But right now, he's changed into much more of a team player, and he's really shown that.
It's funny because in the beginning of his career, he tried to put the team on his back, and it unfortunately couldn't work out. But all it took was getting soloed one time by Vedium to be able to actually find the win under his belt to get to Worlds.
You know, I actually loved his interview the other day, and he was talking about Zapman of a few years ago would never have done that. Never thought he would win this type of game. But he said, you know, now I realize that Smite, it's an objective game. MOBAs, they're objective based. We got to do what we need to do to win the objectives. And if I'm succeeding in the process, fantastic. Well, on the other side of that, SoaR, they've got their Metyankey going on, and he's looking to have a very successful day.
Definitely one of these quiet hunters that does his job under the darkness and the shadows, and then when it's time for it to come out, he comes out with full force.
Yeah, for sure. For me, he's a very consistent hunter, which is really nice. It's nice to see that, for one. Like, as you said as well, he's one of these quiet hunters. Like, a lot of the time, hunters, like including Fumble, if they start getting a lead, they won't shut up. They keep going. But like with him, he's just always doing his job, really consistent.
And a lot of these hunters will try to go for the flashy 1v1 plays in the dual lane, but not Metyankey. He's more concerned about trying to farm, get the power spike items online. He's more concerned about trying to out-farm you instead of out-boxing you.
Yeah, no, it's smart to do it that way because at the end of the day, the more items you have, the more damage you do, and the bigger impact you'll have in team fights.
Especially when you have Andinster on your team as a jungler, just being able to set up the plays elsewhere. And once these team fights do break out, it's just so important for Metyankey to always get off the shots.
Seems like he's typing a few jokes to his teammates there. In a good mood is SoaR. They've got good reason to be. A lot of people consider them to be kind of the challenge to Energy from the North American side of things. And I know Eager are going to refute that heavily in this set, but it does seem that SoaR has a lot of NA's hopes riding on them in terms of their World's performance.
Definitely more MVP All-Stars, I would say, out of SoaR, because you have Andinster, the first season World Championship jungler, and then you have Baskin, who is also the second season, just not able to really beat it against the Epsilon, unfortunately, back then, but he was able to make the huge transition from Denial, and now he is considered by almost the best player in the world by a lot of players in Smite.
I'd consider that as well, honestly. He's absolutely incredible. He always has such an impact on the game. He's always getting ahead somehow. I don't even know how he's getting ahead some of the times, but he always manages it, and he's one of the most consistent players again. A
lot of players fear his Vamana. We've seen him being banned out a lot. What kind of gods do you think is his biggest strength?
Well, just aggressive gods, in my opinion. I think if he's playing aggressive, then he's going to do well. I think he can't really play the things like the okay.
So we see Jigz is here on the screen in slow-mo
top
rewind.
play.
Steel Series
that looks
headset.
like none other than the perfect setup for a Steel Series headset, the official hardware sponsor of all hi-rez esports. And man, I mean, you got a great hairdo like that, you might as well wear a great headset, right?
Of course, you need to look good.
What do you think, Tolly?
I love it.
Well, Totally happy about it. I know we all are because we're getting into game here. Ra and Sobek taken off the board by SoaR, and Eager will follow up by banning Terra and Erlong Shin. So pretty much nothing too surprising here that Giannis first picked for SoaR.
Yeah, I really like the Giannis pick is really good for this team, I think. The mobility is, they play a similar style to Energy, where if they have a lot of mobility, then they can really punish the enemy like for being slightly out of position. And with all these like high mechanical players, they just want to get around quickly, and for that, it's going to be so good for them.
We've seen Snoopy be so dominant on this god, hitting the snipes from a distance, being pretty consistent about hitting those abilities. Is not very easy to do, but he's made it work. And on top of this, being played with Andinster, he's also one of these guys that is just going to be so aggressive any single moment of the game. So you have those portals to disengage whenever necessary. He's definitely going to be looking for those speed buff invades.
Yeah, to me, it's actually quite incredible how quickly Snoopy's picked up Giannis and just all the mid laners in general. Like, he's only recently swapped to mid lane. Wait, how long has it been now?
Like about 4 or 5 months or so. I mean, you can't play Rama every game, right?
Of course not, of course not. But yeah, no, he's really picked it up, and his Giannis has actually been incredible, really. It's really impressive.
Snoopy was one of those players that I think was quiet, had some question marks around him, but definitely stepped up in his set earlier on. And I think they're looking at him having a strong performance today to be the determinant of how well this Eager matchup goes. We know a lot of the players who are in that big name type scenario, Andinster, Baskin, they're going to come to play. But if Snoopy doesn't, this could leave the door open for Eager to get some wins.
And this has been a reoccurring theme for SoaR this whole event so far. In their set earlier on against Luminosity, the first 2 games, they actually prioritized Snoopy's Giannis in the first pick. Finally, Luminosity banned it away in game 4 after they picked it themselves in game number 3. So heading in, whatever is the result of this game, I expect Eager to think about Snoopy's Giannis in the future.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that they Eager pull out a Willix here. I think the Willix actually looks really, really good. I'm hoping they pick it, but I'm not entirely sure what they'll do. If they do pick the Willix, and their pressure in the early game is going to be so strong, and I think that is what they need into SoaR.
djpernicus with the Sarkhan, unfortunately, though. I see where you were going with that, though, with the Willix. You're able to snatch the Bacchus away from his engages. You have the Sylvanas knockup to be able to synergize a little bit better, but Sarkhan is going to be able to provide a lot of burst damage necessary to maybe pick out the Giannis, especially before level 12, before the Sanctuary comes online.
Now we see, obviously, the cores
Youngwoon
for both teams selected. Youngwoon giving that stare down. Man, establishing dominance in a different way, looking away from the camera. He's like, I don't even care about anybody watching me here. He's focused.
That is a focused man.
And ready to go. Nice little eyebrow raise. And so as we go into the next phase, Famana is banned out, and of course Jingzhen on the side of SoaR banned out as the initial bans, the final bans actually start to go for.
I really do like the Vamana ban and actually the Ravana ban. I think, again, it's like these high-pressure solo laners. But if Baskin was on either of these gods, then he's just going to be able to push out the lane and just keep on the pressure. Like every single time, we'll be able to help his team invade these speed buffs, anything like that. He can always keep it up, and I think it's really good that they have banned it.
And not just that, the Erlong Shen earlier on in the banning phases, Eager are definitely planning to focus out Baskin here. They don't want him to get in a comfortable enough position where he can start out-trading you, start proxy farming between tier 1, tier 2, start looking for those back harpy invades, and then he will get level 12 first, hitting that second important relic timing to allow his team an advantage in the team fights.
Yeah, the Hoi ban coming out as well. I really actually love seeing this come out. Usually I wouldn't really rate Hoi that highly, but I think here it looks amazing for Eager. Their teamfight presence, if they did have it, would be absolutely incredible. They have, again, like I said yesterday, these big circles that can just destroy the enemy. But yeah, the Jingwei being picked, and again, just a high pressure
very strong.
ADC.
Yeah, very strong ADC. Again, not highly contested. Obviously seen in more of the second phasing of picking, but very valuable and can definitely be something Zapman finds himself very comfortable on and eager to fight.
It's very interesting to see how some of these teams will prioritize the same gods, just a little bit in different phases.
That's
some
right.
teams will prioritize the Jingwei before the secondary bans. Others will kind of wait and see because they definitely want to get there. Sometimes, like Eager, for example, you know, picking the Zeus, Sylvanas, Sarkhan, definitely relying on their support mid-jungle synergy.
The Rat solo coming out, it seems. Not something that I'm too used to seeing. Oh, and the
Wow.
Camazots.
The
Wow.
insta-
I knew it.
Camazots.
I knew it. I heard rumors that Divios was working on the Camazots in the solo lane. I was already surprised that Miefe brought it out in the jungle, but it did work that game.
Yeah, no, the numbers on the character is absolutely insane. This is a really interesting solo matchup here. I've never actually seen this before. Ratataska versus Camazotz. That's a new one for me, at least, to see.
They both have damage. They both have sustain. Camazott's damage is a little bit more safe considering how far away he can throw out those abilities. And if there's going to be any sort of pressure in this solo lane, whether or not it's going to be Andinster on the Nemesis or djpernicus on the Circuit, I'm expecting a lot of action in that solo lane.
It's going to be tough because a lot of people, they don't know who to give the edge to here. Who would you all say in terms of the total lineup gets the edge?
I think SoaR have a really, really well-rounded comp. Like, the mobility on the comp is absolutely insane. And I think Eager, it's quite a question mark team comp for me, but I think it can work. It's something that SoaR have probably not really played into too much. So.
I think Eager has the better composition in terms of 5-man grouping for team fights between the Zeus and Sylvanas. As long as they take the initiative first, they should have it.
All right, casters, take it away for game one.
Thanks so much, analysts. And we're joined on the desk today. Obviously, it's the final day. It's been a long weekend, so I needed some really good support. So what I did was hire good old Trix Tank to come on the desk with us. Trix, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm excited for it.
Well, talk to me about these comps first of all, because Camazotz versus Ratatoska.
Interesting.
Have we seen this before?
Both very weird picks in the solo lane. I mean, we know Divios picking all kind of random stuff, and Baskin is so confident in the solo lane, so it doesn't surprise me that they're picking this.
And Agro, you guys were talking off air as well, you know, between you and Trix Tank about potentially an Awelix for Eager here, but with taking a Camazotz as well, it kind of, I understand why maybe not going for the Awelix.
You need a little bit more setup, exactly, and a little bit more CC thanks to the Circuit, as well as the fact that I like this Assassin in the solo lane because we saw SoaR pick up Nemesis so early. Picking a team with 4 squishier characters means that Nemesis ult isn't going to be getting quite as much value as in terms of stealing away protections.
Trix, what about team comps for you right now? How are you feeling about these two teams? Who's your money on just based on the compositions?
I mean, it's hard to say right now. It seems really equal, to be honest, in the team fights. I can only say that the Zeus is going to have a hard time with the Bacchus and the Nemesis on SoaR Gaming. But I think if TheBest can just get good peel and survive the team fight, then I think they have a really good chance.
And with Jigz as well, I mean, he's going to be playing the back, as you said. It's not going to be a great matchup. Agro, what's the reasoning why Jigz is going to have so much trouble this game?
It's tough to flop a Circuit, man. It's one of the most mobile gods in the game. Flop is not always the quickest of jumps, so I'm sure Trix, you know, you were talking about how you never like to try and flop a Circuit, because if you botch that engage by missing belly flop, it makes your team fight a whole lot harder.
Yeah, it's really hard to get to a Circuit as Bacchus, but it doesn't really matter since the Zeus is on the lane, so he just want to look for him at the moment.
Well, you saw the pressure that Circuit and Camazotz got there. They stole away the blue buff on the invade straight away. SoaR Gaming had that understanding that could be going on, so immediately did back Hoppy, so they're not too far behind right now.
No, engage in the middle lane though. Aror going to take a decent amount of poke. We've seen Aror do this all week basically with Eager, even though they only played day 1 early on. Aror on the Sylvanas just comes mid early on, trying to help contest these mid harpies.
How do you feel about this, Trix? You know, with these rotations from support so early to mid lane, I mean, you're the one from Europe that's done quite a lot as well. Do you think it's a good idea to do this so often?
I mean, overall, it's really risky. As well, we have the Zeus.
Oh, Snoopy's dead. No, he's not. One more hit. The dot damage is going to be enough. Not in time. And luckily, Snoopy will get out with his life, but barely.
Shell came up huge there for Jigz. Otherwise, that dot kills him. Plus the health pot as well. The early damage from Camazotz is very, very strong.
And that's the early support rotation. You know, there's going to be a fight somewhere. They're going to look for the engage, and if anybody gets it, that's going to be in favor of the team who engages.
Well, left-hand harpies have been contested right now, but it looks like they will go the way of SoaR before Aror can even turn up there and immediately fall back to mid lane once again. Now, with these comps as well, Trix, it looks like they're going to play a fast-paced game this time round as well. Is this because of how aggressive these assassins are?
Oh, I think it's mainly because they picked the Sylvanas. Sylvanas is really good in the early game, and they want to look for the pick and the early kills here so they can get the Zeus ahead. And I think that's a really smart tactic.
Who are we looking at aggro here for the two teams to really look and focus on? Obviously, on the side of SoaR Gaming, who are they trying to pick off from Eager? Is it the Zeus?
Zeus, 100% Zeus, yeah. Because like we were talking about earlier on, we've said a lot about Ra, specifically with the Giannis kind of counter matchup. If you could just drop everyone in front of Ra, he's got nowhere to go. No mobility. Zeus fits that same bill. Now, Zeus can also turn it around a little bit better than Ra can. Chain Lightning and a Lightning Storm, even if you can't get Detonate off, you're still going to be trading out a lot of damage. But if Snoopy can maybe hit Best with that through space and time as Andinster comes through, ults him, 2s him, autos him, he could die before he gets any sort of that damage off. This composition is definitely going to be important to protect Best, and with a solo laner like Camazotz that has no CC, it really falls on Auror's shoulders and DJ's in the jungle.
We can see the levels of the two teams here and how DJ's been a little bit behind in terms of the jungle, just hitting 4 and taking those back harpies, whereas in the mid lane, Snoopy is still only level 3 at the moment. Is this a certain favor to one team or the other?
Overall, Zeus have so much pressure early, so it doesn't surprise me the fact that he's right right now ahead, but I mean, at the moment, TheBest has got a farm, wait for his Aegis, and when he get Aegis, he can actually bait a lot of things with the ult and Aegis.
Right, Harpies go, Elementals go down, and djpernicus will hit level 5 now, and quick trip back to base for him, more than likely to finish off his boots.
And that's what you want to do, get enough farm early on so you can have those boots ready for the second spawn of mid camps, because that's usually when the first big fight's going to come out. Looks like Divios is actually leveling his 3 here on Camazot's solo. I'm imagining this is because it isn't the greatest clear, but you get additional healing per target hit as you level up that ability, and there's no cap on that. So if Divios can stack the full wave and then jump on it, he's going to be able to do a ton of healing to himself.
Yeah, the damage per hit and the bonus damage 10% per god, so if he hits multiple gods in that Trick Tank, it's going to cause some problems for him.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think at the moment as well, if we see in the solo lane at the moment, Baskin is going to have a very hard matchup. Camazotz is really good, really bad against bruisers, but against a squishy one as Ratatoska, it's going to be really hard for him. So I think right now they want to find a pick in the mid lane with a Ratatoska, and that's what they're going to look for in the future.
It's the second time we've seen Camazotz here. Homie FA played it yesterday for the first time in the jungle, but the first time we've seen it in the solo lane. Not a surprise to see it's someone like Divios that has done that.
That's what he likes to do. Engage onto Aror here, right into the Nemesis ult. Zeus ult
Space
coming
time.
down through space. Time's gonna hit him, but he's
Aror
still alive.
is still alive for now. In the sky is Ratatoska though. Baskin hits 4 targets with the ultimate and will pick up first blood. Everybody else from SoaR Gaming did fall back there, but still supporting Baskin is Andinster. And the solo and jungle are going to combine to pick up a second kill. However, 2 kills were traded down because Zapman and Metyankey have both rotated, and Zapman's coming up big.
Airstrike, gonna trust his team to finish off Andinster, and Divios does. Now Snoopy needs that portal, not gonna be able to find it in time. The first engage ends up with a lot of blood. 4 kills for Eager there.
Tricksack, talk me through what went wrong.
Yeah, this looked like a great fight for SoaR overall, but that's the power of Xingwei. You can rotate easily to your own side. So with the fact that SoaR took a fight over at Eager's side just made it's so easy for Xingwei to rotate, and that's why they got the better of the fight.
Not only that, but that's the power of Sylvanas as well. You want to be able to kill this healer in the composition always. That's always the focus. But when you're a Guardian and you're able to just buy as much time as Aror did there, I mean, he ate Nemesis ult, Bacchus flop, Bacchus intoxicate through space and time, and then he comes out alive anyways.
Just good timing for the boys of Eager then overall, because it was SoaR going aggressive. I guess they didn't realize where Zap was in the laning phase at the time, because I guess he was probably on his way back to base as that engagement happened. Otherwise, that rotation could have been a bit more tricky.
Well, Met was actually there with the snipes. You saw him put some into Aror, and that's what kind of led to him falling eventually as Andinster came through the portals. But you're right. I mean, just being able to get there so quickly as Xingwei is really crazy.
Look at that poke that came out from Divios there. He just left in the whole minion wave with that Devour there as well, just to keep him sustained up.
Yeah, this is what we when we see that Camazotz is way better against a squishy target like Ratatoska.
And even Ratatoska here as well, bro. He's a level ahead right now, but just because of that engagement, Baskin did get involved in that quite heavily, hitting a 4-man ultimate.
And you can see that Baskin was actually going into a little bit of defense. He, like Divios, when they play these Ratatoska solo, like to go for a bruiser style of build anyways. I think he was building into a breastplate of valor, so it's going to be the tanky damage option, basically, for Baskin in the solo lane.
Well, go.
You can really see that SoaR is going to go for the aggressive plays here. If you look at the map, they have 4 normal wards across the map like a wall, and that's because they put it the aggressive side because they really want to look if they're deep engaged with the Ratatoska ult.
And also with that Giannis ult, if you can catch someone, you know, maybe you see Zeus like walking by himself to back harpies. If you could just port 3 people into back harpies, it's really, really difficult for him to get away. I really like that wall, like you said, that SoaR's put up.
And with that wall as well, when we look at the map, it's going to be very difficult for Eager to really look towards a Gold Fury, a steely one maybe in the early stages, because those wards will see the rotations coming out from everybody in this game. Also,
we have the Hawk from both solo laners, so if one of them rotates, it's going to be really easy for whoever's going to go in for the Gold Fury to secure that.
Yeah, we'll see with those rotations, because obviously Baskin going to out-rotate a little bit on a Camazotz here, aggro, especially just because of that global ultimate.
The global ultimate, yes, but it's really been Divios who's been pushing Baskin under tower, which means that he kind of can keep up in a way. Baskin can go over his head, basically, and up into the tree and try and out-rotate him, but if Divios is the one with lane pressure, it's not going to be as impactful with that global
ultimate. I spoke about that Gold Fury, and djpernicus is in the pit right now. He is alone at the moment, though. He was looking to see what was going on around that area. Zapman has been given the red buff on the left-hand side. How do we feel about this?
I'm a fan. Giving Zapman a red buff, let him like plays. And the big thing is that Metyankey's getting the red buff as well. If one hunter has the red buff and the other does not, it really gives them an advantage in that laning phase. That being said, Met's red actually just fell off, so it's going to be Zap with the advantage.
Metyankey also need the red buff. Now when Zapman got 1 kill, 1 assist, he's going to be way stronger than him. Also, Xingwei is really good at bowling, so if he didn't get the red buff as Zapman, that lane would have been ruined already.
Yeah, and Zapman gone for the Devour's Gauntlets there, where you can see at the same time Metyankey still working towards his. The builds were very similar between the two of them. them. Just a 50 gold differential between the tile of boots they went for there. But as Trixang just said there, Aggro, it came down to that kill is the reason.
Really, really big kill for Zap. You saw Met did get the assist, but it's still that. Plus that farming power of Jingwei anyways, on top of that kill, he's definitely very far ahead, and this is why.
Well, this Gold Fuse game bursted very heavily. The best has already invested his ultimate, and there was the snipes from Yankee looking to secure it. Aror's in trouble, though. He will be a casualty as Jigz and Snoopy do make the rotation. But I think they'll be okay with that, Trix.
Definitely. As support for a Gold Fuse, you take that trade any time of the day.
Do you like being the person that has to trade their life for a Gold Fuse?
I mean, I would do that any time of the day for my team. It's definitely worth it. Also, Aror is the lowest level on the team, so it doesn't really matter that much. It's definitely worth it for Ymir.
Well, now Divios is getting pressure on the right-hand side because Andinster is over here with the support of Baskin too, looking towards his blue buff potentially. You did see him use the Vampiric Batz there, Divios, onto his buff to get that bonus effect initiated at least before it was taken down.
So now that he's going to be able to take that buff, he's going to get additional physical lifesteal on everything in his kit. So he's going to be able to really box and lane better.
I like the fact that Best went immediately into Dynasty Helmet to get the protection off already.
Hold that for a second. Baskin's in a bit of trouble there. Forced to ult very, very early on. But he will get away for now, but being forced that far back will provide lane pressure to Eager for a second.
Yeah, and as I said before, I really like that Zeus have the Dynasty Helmet online already, because they are going to try to pick him out, and they are going to collapse on it if they see him out of position. So the fact that you have the early protection out is maybe going to help him out.
We'll have to see what Best wants to go for after this, because usually when we see Best on a damage god like Zeus, he's going to be going for the Dynasty Plate Helm, into Boots, into Soul Reaver. That's the Eager strategy, is we want to kill the first person we look at with our first rotation of skills, and then we'll just try to take the team fight from there, a man up. But a lot of Zeus's will go for a more defensive-oriented build. I wouldn't be surprised to see a Wing Blade come out of him early. It would be really effective up against the Nemesis and the Giannis.
I'm talking about a Wing Blade here as well, Trix, and you can see one on the side of Aror on that Sylvanas already. Do we expect to see some sprints maybe come out as well to deal with some of these slows?
I mean, Wingblade is great against the composition SoaR has right now. They have the Janus, which is really annoying for support with the slow, so the Wingblade is a perfect pickup. Also, Sylvanas have no mobility, so if he ever get caught in a Nemesis ult, he's gonna die.
Well, meanwhile, Jigz across the way on that Sobek didn't go for the Wingblade here. He's chosen to go for some magical defense, a little bit worried about the damage from the Zeus. That's the main one he's going to have to deal with.
I was going to ask you about Jigz' build here, Trix. What do you think about these cooldown boots on Bacchus? Why do we see Jigz going for the cooldown here?
I mean, overall, I think that I'm not actually sure. I don't like it personally that much. I'd rather go for the all-in nuke. Also, when they have the Nemesis, if you get a jump and then a Nemesis ult, your ult is going to do insane damage if you have the penetration boost instead.
Well, Eager are just pushing SoaR back into their own jungle on the right-hand side, just relieving pressure on those right-hand harpies that they're wanting. They have started flashing just now. With a new mint wave coming in, it's going to slow them down for a second, but DJ's back in time as Jigz has now made a rotation over to the right-hand side to help out Baskin.
Just give him a little bit of relief on that pressure that Divios has been putting on him. Even though Baskin is a level up, you can see that Divios has been the one poking him out pretty much the entire time. Divios also going for the tankier option with the Breastplate of Valor. And is that going to be a... it could be a Runeforged, actually.
Well, there's a kiss onto Andinster, and the damage comes through too, and the best just cleans up two!
That is the Zeus damage right there. It's so good against Janus as well, because you can get the chain lightning off before it goes into the portal. It will basically one-shot him, and that's what we saw right there.
And the composition here, I mean, it's 2,000 gold lead in favor of Eager, with the Gold Fury going down the last couple of kills too. But now they can look to the speed buff as well. And with the way Divios is playing this lane matchup as well, it's very hard to gank him on the Kamazots with that ultimate.
Even though he's been pushed up the tower the entire time, exactly, that ultimate, and we saw Homie use it so well. It just buys you so much time up in the air. Sanctuary doesn't help you against it because he's up in the air for so long, and you can just wait out the team fight or wait out the gank, and that's why you haven't seen SoaR really be able to put any pressure on him.
We've seen Divios many times before, and Divios at LAN is a different beast to Divios online. He pulls things out and makes them work, and Baskin, who's rated as probably the best solo laner in the world, is being destroyed right now, Aggro.
No ultimate from DJ, not going to get off in time. Doesn't take the cooldown anymore, so he will have that up available, but Baskin really just has had a tough time in this lane, and when is the last time you could say that about Baskin?
I mean, Divi is just absolutely brawling him right now. He knows you have the counter matchup, and the fact that he have that ultimate, it actually makes the lane really safe, and it makes him so safe that he can actually go in and play SoaR aggro, because if he gets ganked, he can easily get out.
And it's no surprise to me that Divios is the one who understands the counter matchup to Rat solo. There aren't a lot of guys who would know that, but it is going to be Divios who's one of the main proponents of Ratatoskr in the solo lane, so it's no surprise to me that he knows exactly what to play against it and how to play against it.
Well, it seems SoaR seem very worried worried about the healing coming out from Aror this game because they've got 2 members who've gone for Pestilence. And when you look down the roster of Eager against 2 physical assassins here, picking up 2 Pestilences, that seemed a bit suspect to me.
Yeah, that is a little bit overkill, potentially.
Strange,
I mean,
right?
You expect that that one of them will be around Aurora at all times, but a lot of times Sylvanas healing is not the same as raw healing. So raw healing's all out of combat, whereas Sylvanas' healing is really better in combat because those wisps do give you protections.
Okay.
So anti-heal items will be a little bit more effective because he's going to want to be using it in fights, unlike raw. But going for 2 this early on isn't necessarily necessary, but you can see that but Pestilence is just such a cost-efficient magical defense item anyways. What would if Baskin wants magical defense, what would he have gone instead? You know?
I mean, it's 90 protection. It's still a very good item. I think it's a little bit overkill, to be honest. Sylvanas heal is not that big as raw heal is. So overall, I think it's definitely overkill. I would have gone for a bulwark on Baskin instead. But I mean, it's just fine as long as they can get the Sylvanas heal shot.
We also could have seen a heart word there from Jigz. If you wanted Baskin to be the one on top of Aurora most of the game, putting that pressure on with the Pestilence, we could have seen some additional magical protection for Andinster, who clearly needs it. I mean, we saw him got blown up there by Zeus earlier on.
Yeah, cost efficient at least is the main thing here. The second gold fury of the game has spawned though. Eager got the first one last time round. It's still a 3,000 gold lead. Nothing's really changed since then as well. The invasion from Eager in the early game, though, they're really using the circuit well, it seems.
Oh yeah, I also want to point out that Sylvanas just went from Mark of the Vanguard. I really like that pickup. He doesn't have any protection with the Wingblade, so getting that protection up immediately is really important, and he just needs to get the protection.
Especially in the
online.
mid-game here as well, aggro, you know, gain some early protections online, and if you tried to invest into, you know, some sort of sovereignty or something, it's going to take a lot longer to get online.
It's about getting this power spike right now as that second Gold Fury spawns, like you mentioned. You know Eager wants to be here to contest this and possibly take a fight if there is going to be one around the Gold Fury. So sitting on tier 2 of sovereignty doesn't help you that much, but getting that Mark of the Vanguard for cheap and getting that extra protections really
look at this play. Gold Fury started, speed buff invaded at the same time, and SoaR going to make a decision. Which side did he go to? Best is going to drop his ult very early. Baskin is here with Wrath, remember, but Baskin's looking for kills. Space and time does not find a home there whatsoever, but the portal through from Snoopy helps to close the gap on the Best. In the sky is Baskin looking for a target, but this is not good for SoaR at all. Eager come up massive there.
That was so well played by Eager. Eager knew that Baskin's Hawk was actually down, so they knew they could secure it with the Zeus ult and just get out after. Very well executed by them.
And now they're looking for a bit of pressure in mid here as well.
That Wingblade coming in big there. Pull on to Andinster. Aurora not going to use the ultimate quite yet. He knows Andy's ult is down. Aurora's actually 2 levels up on Andinster right now as a support. Is there a better feeling than being 2 levels up on an enemy jungler?
I mean, there's nothing better. Even though he went for the early Wingblade, he feels as tanky as the Bacchus does right now, and that's a perfect situation to be in.
Well, it's a rough situation for SoaR now, that's for sure. In game 1, this is a best of 5, though. The winner goes to the World Championships as the #1 seed out of North America. And right now in game 1, Eager have pulled out this composition with double assassin, which is something we've not seen since last year.
And we heard Luminosity talking about when they went up against Eager in their group stages, they'd been scrimming SoaR, who plays meta, who plays the same things as most teams do, so they weren't ready for the things that Eager were going to throw at them. And it seems the same here for SoaR. I mean, SoaR is, we know, probably the best team in North America if you're playing standard. If you're playing standard Smite. Eager doesn't play standard Smite. They play Eager Smite.
Personally, I think SoaR is overall they're a better team, but Eager is so smart. They're such a good team overall. They're doing different things that people don't expect, and that's why they're going to be they're probably going to win the World Championship.
When you say that, you know, they do different things here, Trixx, and I'm going to come back to what you just said then a second ago, but when you say they do different things here, Trixx, what do you mean by different things? What is it they do that's so different?
I mean, we see the Camisat solo, we see the not traditional circuit pick.
Well, that ult went off perfectly for Aurora, but it's going to put a lot of pressure onto Snoopy there, as he did get hit by the detonate as well. Snoopy pretty low, and it's actually Eager wrapping around trying to pick off Andinster, but Andinster's going aggressive on Best. He wasn't alone. Metyankey going to use the snipes to try and support his team, but has to back away because DJ and Divios are both diving him.
They're looking for it. Camazot's diving the tower, but not quite enough damage yet. Metyankey's done a nice job farming. He's up a level on the Eager soul laner right now. You get a couple relics out. Nice shell there again from Jigz. Perfectly timed. Make sure Snoopy doesn't have to use that Sanctuary against...
and this is a great call coming out from Eager. They have the Sylvanas heal. They're just going to see the tower down. This is perfect.
And with Divios as well. Meanwhile, in the jungle, Andy versus djpernicus is going on. The Sanctuary's going to buy him time from the in-hand damage to proc that poison a little bit more, but the poison is ticking to slow his own one more hit. Meanwhile, Baskin, however, did get a kill in mid lane. We've got a fight there. Bat out of hell is used by Divios, trying to run down the boys and then dip out to the left-hand side of SoaR.
Just not quite enough damage out of Snoopy, though. Only level 12. He only just now completing that Book of Thoth as well. 1 for 1 eventually, but the mid-tier 1 tower goes down.
Ygri's just so far ahead at this point. They won both the left lane fight and mid lane fight. They're just going to snowball this game to the win, I think.
And it seems to be what they're doing anyway with the assassins, right? Trix, it looked like they wanted an aggressive game from the outset, especially with Aror rotating to mid lane so very, very early on.
Yeah, I think if they picked something else in the solo lane, which could put pressure on Divios, I think it would have been a little bit better. But the fact that he won the lane so hard really makes it hard for them to make any plays with the Ratatoska.
Well,
And even though we're saying that Divios won lane so hard, and I agree with you, he absolutely did, you can see Baskin's up a level. And if we take a look at the net worth, I expect that Divios won't be super far ahead. In fact, he's basically even.
And that's like the
with
2 Gold Furies as well.
But it's about where Baskin has been on the map. Baskin has not been able to come around and make that rotation early on, which is where assassins are at their strongest. If you're at a level 14 assassin up against a level 10 mage, that's where you're going to be really strong. That's why you're picking the assassin solo. But Divios did the exact same thing, and he was the one with the pressure, which made it so Baskin couldn't make an impact.
I mean, yeah, because Baskin is up right now, it's because he knows who he can fight, and it's not Divios. He want to go for the best, he want to go for the circuit, and he want to look to get one of those two, and that's what he's done so far.
And you can see actually in his build choice from Baskin here on this Ratatoska, very, very tanky situational items here. Void Stone as well as the Pestilence. Sorry, not Void Stone, Void Shield as well as the Pestilence. And then on top of that, he's gone for Breastplate of Valor. This is just a tank rat, really. It's more to probably draw attention, if anything else.
Disruption, exactly. Plus, you know he's going to be stripping away protections with that second ability anyways, so you don't really need a ton of pen. I really like the Void Shield pickup. He's been having a little bit of trouble with that Kamazotz, and even though the laning phase is approaching the end of that phase, we're going to be team fighting a lot pretty much soon. I still like the Void Shield pickup. A lot of physical damage.
It's actually funny with the solo laner builds right now. Both of them is assassins, but they're both building very tanky.
Yep.
So that's very interesting to see, to be honest.
Well, I can understand it from Eager's point of view because it's allowed djpernicus here to just go full penetration in his build, whereas Andinster, I think after the last couple of engagements, realizes he needs to get a little bit tankier here.
Yeah, he's going to need to pick up something else, and we saw, I mean, the big difference for Andinster, though, is just the level difference. DJ's level 17, and Andinster's level 13, and that's not something that I think that a lot of people expected coming into this match. I mean, Andinster, one of the premier junglers in North America, and DJ does not get a lot of praise for his play.
Jigz rooted in place there for a second as he was looking to belch djpernicus away from the left-hand hoppies that aren't even up yet, but the Gold Fury is, and that seems to be where the contest seems to be lying between these two teams right now. How important is this next Gold Fury, Trix?
I mean, it's going to be a do or die for SoaR right now. They're so far behind. They can't drop this, otherwise they're going to get way too far behind, and they can basically siege everything down. I actually said before the game that, oh, they're on the Gold Fury.
Yeah, they are on the Gold Fury. You can keep talking, though, because nothing's happening right now. What were you going to say?
It. Oh, well, what I was going to say is the fact that before the game, they're going to shut the Zeus down, which is their main damage on Ygr. But Zapman here is level 20. He is so far ahead, so he can be able to do anything he wants, because they're not going to engage on him.
Well, let's see what Zapman can do. He's currently in base at the moment as the focus is on Aror. Andinster has wrapped around the back, and the tree's in a bit of trouble on this side. But with Zapman coming back from base at the same time, it's Andy that's going to dash and dash again. Divios is over here looking to close the gap. Obviously, the Devour doesn't give him much room to get there, but the Vampiric Batz will slow him and force Andinster to ult. But out of the hell still available for Divios. Here's the trade is happening, and really Divios is just buying time for the rotation from his team. Double tap comes available again, the route in place, but Snoopy, the team of SoaR, come around the back.
Thanks through space and time, but again, just not enough damage to answer back. All those ultimates used, you used 3. Baskin used his ult as well, it looks like, to try and get there. Maybe got something out, got the blink from DJ, but that's about it. I mean, overall, just under-leveled is the big problem here for SoaR.
Well, Ego actually going to attempt the Gold Fury straight off that. You saw the teleport straight back in as well to get back to the action for Ego now in the mid lane. Baskin is already at half health, and Zapman, he's the one going aggressive here, looking to put a bit of pressure on, while Divios is tanking the Gold Fury. Mid lane, DJ going to poke Baskin out as well.
They're just keeping Baskin out because he has the Wrath, and if the Wrath isn't there, the steal potential isn't there. Third Gold Fury of the game goes the way of Ygr, and as Trix said, this is dire straits now for SoaR. You're down about 8,000 gold, 10,000 experience.
Yeah, it was a really smart play coming out for djpernicus holding Baskin in the mid lane so he could steal that, so TheBest could secure that one. That was really well played.
What's the big problem then for SoaR then in this game? How did they get back into this one?
I mean, they should have shut the Zeus down way before, and now right now he's in a he's above Janos, which is going to make it so hard. So at this point, he's gonna be able to survive whatever.
Especially because of his build. Look at it. That's pure defense Zeus. I mean, you've got a Spirit's Robe, 4th item. The only damage that Best has right now is from Pen Boots and a little bit from the Dynasty Plate Helm. Otherwise, his job is to just stay alive.
And if you can just keep pointing out damage, the slows come into play from the chain lightning as well. People are still going to respect the ultimate at the same time. I mean, that ultimate really is impactful.
Oh yeah, definitely. Zeus ult is probably the most damageable ult in the game. It has so much burst, and now when Best is ahead, that's going to do so much damage.
Do you remember when he used to have stun on his 3
stars?
that was
a good time. That was where Lofter played it at launch tournament. That was lovely.
Bring it back, man. That was so much fun.
Good times.
You get 2 stacks on him, drop the ult, immediately stun him in the ult.
That
Feels
was rough. That was bad. At least I was Bacchus back then, so it was fine. So I still killed him anyway.
We had Wukong as well.
Ah, yeah, the Wukong days were pretty good, but now not so much. We can see it slow down for a second here, because obviously SoaR recognize they are in dire straits now. The Fire Giant around this area, is this going to be important for Eager to look at?
I think right now SoaR is not going to come back, except if Eager is going to throw this one. Zeus is in such a comfortable position. Aror is not going to die anymore. He have the protection online, and it just looks very bad for SoaR overall.
The one person that is susceptible to die right now, I think, is DJ, because out of his build, it's just all damage. Serket's going to be pretty squishy. If SoaR's going to be able to find a pick and get back into a team fight, it's got to be Snoopy just hitting DJ for half his health and then coming through the portal and finishing him off with an unstable vortex.
I mean, you mentioned that, but at the same time, the mobility is the big key that Serket brings, and try to pin her down long enough to be able to do that, you're going to have to get a little bit lucky. I guess that's what they need right now. Snoopy's great with the Rama snipes. He needs to do the same thing with Giannis.
Yeah, I mean, even if they pick djpernicus out, oh, they're going to be a fight here. But even if they pick djpernicus out here, he's going to buy a lot of time so Zeus and Zapman can do whatever whatever they want.
Pressure from the boys of Eager. Pull onto Jigz, and he's in place, and he's dead already. Jigz off the map. Next it goes in Andinster, trying to turn this one back around with the support of Baskin. Space and Time hits 2 members of Eager there, but with Wisps and how healthy they are right now, that didn't really make an impact at all.
Not at all. Divios split pushing on the right-hand side. Can't get any significant poke onto that tower, but you mentioned it. Those heals from Aror are coming big. Wrath going to keep Divios under tower for an extra shot, but who cares? He's Camazotz. His life steal's insane, and he's got Aror.
And now the tier 2 tower in the mid lane going to be sieged down by Eager as well. SoaR not really in a position to defend this after Andinster and Snoopy had both used their ultimates previously. Another small win for Eager.
Yeah, Eager is just going to keep using the sustain right now from Aror, and they're going to siege the rest of the towers down, and then they're going to look for a Fire Giant. So what they're going to do right now, I think.
You see the essence pulls as well there by Divios, which should come into play as well, just to sustain them up even more. And Andinster can't really fight into it as well, because every time he uses those vampiric bats, he does heal back up even more.
Yeah, Camazotz definitely, whenever I saw him get released, my first thought was solo laner. He just has that feel to him. He's got a big, he does what he wants, and just has that box potential that's insane. He's so hard to kill with that ultimate, even though he doesn't have the greatest of escapes with that 3. It's really more of a disjoint. If you can immune something, if you can just get over a slow, something along those lines, it can really make your life a lot easier.
At this point, Eager is just controlling everything. They have all the jungle control. They can do whatever they want. SoaR is just going to try and not to get picked out at this point and hope for them to get a pick. But it's so hard when djpernicus is going to be the only one who's up in their face.
So where did the problem come down to then, Trix, in this game? What exactly went wrong at what stage for SoaR?
It's 100% the early game. Zeus, if you get him a kill early and get him ahead, that's not going to work out.
Okay.
He will be able to get the protection item online, and you will be able to survive. And yeah, that's what happened.
I agree with you, and it really all came to one play, and that was DJ putting pressure on the right side jungle. Andinster dashes towards middle lane.
Double kill.
Where he and Snoopy both get chain lightning to the lightning storm to detonate. Double kill. That opened up a speed buff invade for DJ, and ever since he's just been super far ahead in the jungle. Andinster has been able to have basically 0 impact in this game, and again, it comes down to the fact also that who's the best Nemesis ult target here? I mean, yeah, Zeus has built some protection, so maybe it's him. But overall, you're looking to ult the squishies and insta-kill them, or the tanky people and get them out of the fight early on. Andinster's really been able to do neither one.
The thing is, Janos is so far behind now. He doesn't have any penetration at the moment, so he's not going to do any damage. So it's going to be really hard for them to follow up on that Nemesis ult at the moment.
Well, they do have Snoopy, and even though Giannis doesn't have a lot of damage, that space and time can still make a big impact in these engagements. And if you can find the snipe on this Fire Giant that's being looked at by Eager now, it could move things around a little bit. One thing I am surprised about, Aggro, is how the games have gone this weekend. As they start off quite quick, and then as the games have developed the course of this week, it's started to slow down a lot
Well,
more.
the games were slow anytime Orbit was playing, Tricks. You guys, like, play for 25 minutes.
Don't you be firing shots?
No,
in?
no,
That's
it's
my
not a
job.
shot. That's their play style,
that is
dude. You
true.
guys don't fight early, ever, do
I
you?
mean, we're very confident in our late game, but they were also really bad this tournament, so that's also why we lost. So I'm sad now.
Hey, see, I wasn't gonna say that. I was just saying those were the slower paced games, but overall,
That's EU.
That is EU, exactly. That was really the slow paced, and this game started off really hot. I mean, the fight by the right Harpies got 6 kills on the board right away between the two teams, and ever since it's been pretty short.
Yeah, I mean, you know the game's going to be aggressive when both of the supports rotate to the mid camps in the start. Already they're both like wanting a fight already.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with the Sylvanas, as you said, very strong in the early stages of the game. The AoE autos do come into play. I mean, they don't do knockback anymore on creeps, but if they group up together, you can get a lot of free damage off.
Yeah, I think it was really smart by Eager as well, getting the support to the mid lane, because Zeus have so much early damage as well compared to Zeus, so they were definitely having the advantage as well.
Well, now they want the tier 2 on the right-hand side. DJ's keeping Baskin at bay on the left-hand side, so another 1,500 gold in the coffers of Eager.
1,500 gold, or 15,000 gold rather, in the lead now. They can multiply that by 10. Baskin just trying to make something happen on the left-hand side. He was trying to split push, but like you mentioned, it's DJ's job to keep him here and make sure he can't make an impact in these team fights. And you can see no teleport actually for Baskin either. He's gone for meditation.
I really like that Eager is going for the siege right now, not the fire giant. They have Baskin who can ult in with a Wrath to secure the fire giant. So right now, I think they're going to go to the left tower and try to siege that down right now.
Well, 28 minutes in, saw that supposedly the super team this year that came and was formed specifically pretty much for the group stages as well as this one continued on. But right now, it's Eager in the lead, and Eager have been not necessarily the unsung heroes at aggro, but they've been a consistent there, but never really recognized as the best.
I think that their team is one that no one wants to play. I don't think anyone wants to play Eager just because you don't know what they're going to come out with. You don't know exactly what their playstyle is going to be. I mean, how many times has the support been in mid since level 1?
I mean, I agree. We don't want to play against them. It's impossible to analyze their gameplay. What are they going to play? Like, we have no idea. So it's basically going to be random bans because they can play so many different things. It's crazy.
Like, SoaR is absolutely one of the best mechanical teams in the world, and I don't think anyone wants to play them either because they can just outright beat you. But I think that a lot of teams feel like they have a better chance against SoaR than they do against Eager.
And now with the Fire Giant pick Lumen as well. That comes us at the start of the game, though, you know, in the solo lane, Tricks Tank. Yeah. What would you want to play against that? What's a good way to deal with that? Is it gank it before 5?
I mean, now I'm not a solo laner, but personally, I think a Bruiser would have been way better. Like Erlang Shen, I think, would have been better. I'm not sure, but Divios have been playing that solo lane so well, so I'm not sure anything would have been beating it.
Well, we'll find out if it gets bad next game, because at the moment it's Eager in control. Fire Giant is reset one more time, but Zapman goes back to it again. Left-hand side, Divios is split pushing, has teleport available to do this, and that's going to pin somebody over here, but luckily it is Snoopy with the space and time.
Exactly, but Snoopy's so scared he doesn't even want to try and fight this. He's going to give up that tier 2 tower, it looks like. Divios just buying time, basically. Fire Giant is getting lower on the right-hand side, gets reset for now. Zapman and the rest of Eager looking for the fight.
I mean, meanwhile in the sky, Baskin's gone up now, though, and Baskin's going to come down, but find out that he's not going to find a target. Straight onto Zapman is the call, however, djpernicus is there, and the rat is already dead. The best gets credit for the kill. Divios is now making the rotation after taking tier 2 tower, and Metyankey's out of position.
Goes up into the sky, just trying to buy himself some time. Through space of time, not going to buy anyone anything. Nice intoxicate from Jigz, but Metyankey comes right down into the knockup. Andinster doing his best, trying to trade out for Zapman, but just not enough damage yet.
And in the battle of the hell is here. Divios is looking to clean up Andinster as well. One more hit will do it, or a detonate, and it will be Divios with the in-hand. Last man standing is Snoopy on this right-hand side, and meanwhile Jigz was forced back to base.
Oh, he almost got zapped there. Shout out to the protections from Wisps, keeping him alive, but that's it. That's the only one alive for SoaR. Jigz will respawn.
And that was straight up just SoaR trying to get them into a wonky position, but it ended up being them in the bad position. Baskin engaged immediately when his team was disengaging, so I think there was some miscommunication there.
And now the back of the game is broken. Snoopy is actually basing back to basing that speed buffer. Isn't found there. 11-4 now. The gold lead is 18,000. The experience is 21,000. Now, we've never had you on a cast before, Tricks, or really had you an input from it. But what I want to know is, some of the players say that when you're losing a game like this, and instead of like just giving it up, you kind of sit there and talk them in comms is what they say about what they need to do differently. Do you guys do the same thing?
I mean, it's hard to say right now. I just think overall it's been... I don't think they should have tried to fight them 3v3 early. They got a really bad start off in the start. And also with the Xingwei... the Xingwei who can rotate early. I think that was really bad of them to fight on their side as well. So I think if they're just going to look for the next game, maybe if they have the same draft at least, they're going to look for like getting picks instead of straight up fighting them.
I'm not sure if we're going to see the same draft aggro. Double assassins on either team. I think this is going to be a one-trick wonder because I think there are a lot more assassin bands may come out next game.
I agree with you. Or just early warrior picks for the solo lane. I mean, yes, you could pick Vamana early, and you're a little bit worried about potentially, you know, Serket is pretty decent into it. Odin is pretty good into Vamana,
Nemesis.
but if you're okay with that, yeah, Nemesis the big one as well. But overall, I'd be surprised.
Well, the last stand is Andinster is ulting onto Zapman, but Zapman's going to airstrike. Baskin in the sky, waiting for him to land, however. How long's he got left is the real answer. He does manage to find it, and Metyankey with the snipes will hit onto Zap, but Zap is still alive. Space and time is fired, and the collapse onto Baskin in the jungle. He's the first casualty in this engagement, as Divios on the front side now, putting out poke, allowing Aror to find the pull, and put Snoopy in a world of hurt.
Nowhere to go right now. Gonna try and buy himself some time, but DJ's gonna find it with the ambush. 2 dead already. Jigz gonna flop in, find a decent intoxicate, but look at how tanky Best is.
And then Zeus's ultimate is dropped, which is going to force Jigz and Metyankey out, and Jigz will fall down here as well. And all the members are dead.
Yeah, this is just Eager being 20k ahead. There's absolutely nothing to do for them here, and they are going to end the game.
And game 1 will go the way of Eager. SoaR now going to have to come back and find it. It's a best of 5 overall, but right now it's looking Eager.
They look really, really strong, and like Trick said, I mean, you just don't know how to prepare against a team like this. The first time SoaR's seen them at LAN, I'm sure they did a lot of research watching their previous games, both here at Super Regionals and at Group B, but overall, Eager clearly had something that SoaR were not prepared for.
I mean, not only Eager picking different things, I thought their mechanics was great this game compared to SoaR as well. Like, they were hitting their stuff, and that's also a big factor. When it comes to Eager, it's probably their mechanically play that's not as good as SoaR, but in this game, Eagle was great.
Yeah, the mechanics did look up to form their aggro as well, and that's when you look at the two teams, you look at one for mechanics and then the other one for strategy. Well, that time it was Eager that had both.
They had both, and they had the farm. That was the big one too, is that they were just so far ahead early on. They took one misplay there where Andinster gets picked off at the jungle like I was mentioning, and all of a sudden, DJ's super far ahead. They did a nice job of keeping Baskin away from the rest of the team and just let everything else happen around the mid lane. Aror was a big factor for me there, just rotating early, getting pressure for that Zeus, making sure he was safe.
And with that as well, obviously, Trix, when we look back at that game, you said it's all early game was the issue that they had there against the double assassin. You expect more warriors, I guess, this time?
I mean, I'm not sure. I think so, from Baskin at least. He's been performing so good on Erlang Shen and other boosters, so I think he's going to stick to that in the next game.
That's the thing, Baskin didn't really show anything that game aggro at all. That's not usual for Baskin.
No, like I mentioned, when was the last time you heard someone say Baskin's having trouble in this lane? And
exactly.
Like I said, he was okay in farm, he was okay in levels, but just not the impact that SoaR really needs him to have. That's their star player along with Andinster, and both those two guys really just didn't bring anything.
I mean, Divios played great this game as well. The fact that he can contest Baskin, who's probably the best solo in the world, is just amazing, and really great plays by him.
That's a good point. We're talking down Baskin there for not having a good performance there, but it was all Divios, and like we said, LAN, he's one of the best players you could hope for. Divios pulls out some crazy stuff, like he brought back Sun Wukong when everybody classed him as being rubbish.
I mean, he brings out the Hercules at LAN.
Yep.
He brought out the Hades, though
Hades
we
Hawk.
could probably forget about that one. Yeah, overall, you never know what Divios is going to play, and as long as it isn't Hades, it's probably going to be good.
Well, it's time to head over to the analysts and take a break. We'll be back with game 2 after the analysts have broke things down.
I don't know if I agree with that, guys. I think if he had Heebie Chibi Hades as his skin, he would probably do all right. But the Camazotz seemed to work out for him. What do you think about this game so far? I mean, no one expected it, but it was great for Eager.
Eager definitely came out with a wild strategy, last picking the Camazotz. Now, it was a very interesting game to start off. We saw the invade right away from Eager, which was spotted a mile away out of SoaR. They had 3 wards in a formation to spot him out, and they also had the Wrath. Instead, they elected to do their back harpies. We saw Eager just snatch that blue buff away from Baskin's Ratatasker, and then from there, around the 3:15 mark or so, when SoaR wanted to invade the speed buff, they overcommitted to that tier 2 tower and losing 4 for 2.
I thought it was kind of weird how they reacted actually to the invade, because they started the speed buff and then they moved back to the back harpies. The reaction to that, to me, wasn't really that correct. It's just maybe it's just something that they're not too used to.
And the way I felt was the reason why it went in Eager's favor so heavily was the fact that they have all this area of effect damage between the Sylvanas ultimate and the Wisps. Zeus obviously chain lining into their ultimate. And then look how far SoaR are even diving that tier 2 tower. And then the rotation from Zap going in the air, recognizing that Divios was going to kill Andinster and Zap could chase down Snoopy was just so brilliantly by Eager.
Yeah, just once there's a clear overextension from Eager there. SoaR. And because of that, they lost a lot, and the Camazots got ahead, really ahead actually because of it. And it seemed it was really hard at that point for Baskin to deal with it.
And then it just seemed like SoaR and Eager, they were playing so slow and carefully after that point in time. It was originally 4-2, and then the rest of the game was majority 8-4 in the scoreline favoring Eager. They ended up getting 3 Gold Furies quietly up until the 21-minute mark, which gave them an over 9,000 gold lead, just being able to really get the lead.
Yeah, I just want to point out as well, the way that TheBest built this game was honestly really, really smart. He built, so it was the boots into the helmet, Dynasty plate helm into Wingblade, so that's really smart, to Nemesis, and then he builds into the Spirit Robe. So because they have this lead, he becomes so tanky, and at that point it's really, really hard for anyone on SoaR to do damage to him. So because of that, it just really kept the lead there, and yeah, they're just able to snowball that.
It makes a lot of sense whenever you're going against a Ratatasker in the Soul lane that can find that global ultimate from so far away. Obviously, Nemesis wants to be able to dive you as well.
Yeah.
So going for a more defensive utility style out of TheBest just shows how much synergy and how much adaptation really Eager have in their arsenal.
TheBest was clearly the best mid laner in this game. The Zeus caught a lot of kills. You saw some of them, the SoaR members, retreating, trying to run under their mid tower, but that ultimate, those big circles, sealed the deal. He got a double kill off of that in the mid game. But one of the benefits, I think, was being able to shut down the Giannis. You know, those detonate charges, they stick with you even if you go through the portal. And again, we talked about Snoopy maybe being the person they had to get off his rhythm for Eager to have a chance. It seemed like they did that.
So the way Eager exploited Snoopy there in the beginning of the game, once we saw both djpernicus and Divios hitting level 2 from Soul lane, they rotated underneath, they fired Giant Elementals, and they actually caught Snoopy in a position where they didn't kill him, but they got until about 10% health. They forced his purification, and then from there, you can't really farm safely from that point on.
Yeah, of course. Zeus is just a really, really good pick into Giannis. You get the push in the early game, and that really allowed Eager to be aggressive. Yeah, so it's just really good that way.
Yeah, Giannis definitely got shot down a lot by Eager. They wanted to figure out a way to get Snoopy off of his game. So off of this first game advantage for Eager heading into